you're a YouTube creator, aren't you? I knew it! That's precisely how I started out. Oh, beg pardon. You may call me Rusty. Protege of oversaturated top 10s and hunter of ad revenue. Our content might differ, but we are creators, the both of us. Why not cooperate and discuss the things we've learned? Oh, very good. Very good indeed. Follow me on Twitter to celebrate our acquaintance. Clickbaiting is a sacred practice. May the algorithm guide your way. Ah, yes. Come one, come all. Welcome, sinners and beast hunters, to the vapid, one-dimensional, self-congratulatory, overhyped, over-budgeted, coke-addled, borderline offensive thesaurus scavenger hunt that we all know this video is about to be. No, please hold your applause. Well held. On this fine and beautiful sunny day, though we can't enjoy because we've all been quarantined inside our own homes with no end in sight, we're going to talk about some of whom I believe are the most underrated NPCs in all of Bloodborne. 10 of them, in fact. Because that's how that works. I'll be rating my choices based on voice acting, dialogue variety, quest line, and fashion sense. And I guess that's about it for the intro then. All right, let's go. And relevance of what I believe is quite honestly the pandemic of the century. I can't think of a better way to introduce this NPC lineup than to spotlight an innocent group of gals that should have never left their cozy Victorian cottage in the first fucking place. The Gascoigne family questline is a great introductory course into the unending madness and inescapable dread that is the Bloodborne universe, where everything is just deathy and nasty and there's no escape and cosmic lords are watching over your every move. It's depressing, really. It's a damn shame. If daughter Gascoigne had brushed up on her social distancing skills before leaving the cottage and stayed an observable 6 feet away from the giant boar that ended up having her for breakfast, maybe I wouldn't have had to deliver the ensuing bad news. Oh my god, did I really just write that joke? Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm an ass. Next up is Elise, Queen of the Vile Bloods and sworn enemy of Sunday morning gatherings. Elise is a pretty cool NPC, due in part to the fact that her entire existence is hidden behind an invisible chamber of the castle that you can't even see unless you're wearing this fancy little crown on your head. By defeating the great martyr Ligarius and channeling the inner spirit of the Burger King himself, you too can bear witness to the miraculous disappearing prison. Elise is the sole survivor of the Vile Bloods, a nasty covenant that opposed the healing church after they were on the receiving end of a nice little killing expedition enacted by Ludwig and his band of executioners. One of the executioners, Ligarius, sealed her away in this illusory prison. Ligarius now guards the prison and challenges anyone who dares to break open the seal. A bulletproof system, had it not been for the asshole in the black hat showing up to kick his fat red ass. Despite the brooding backstory, joining her covenant gets you some sweet rewards, but staying in her covenant kinda does fuck all.
Oh, but Rusty, if she dies, you can go to the altar and the spider and spread up the flesh.
This chick is creepy as fuck. Possibly even creepier than fuck. I'm not exactly sure how you would quantify fuck on a scale of general creepiness, but if such a scale existed, Saint Adela would probably fall somewhere between Old Spice Facebook ads and Pokemon's Twitch chat. Saint Adela's questline starts off as a normal rescue mission where you do your hunter-lead duties as a hunter, I guess, and alert her of one of the 2 remaining safe spaces in all of Yharnam. After you find that she has miraculously made her way to Uden Chapel without getting eaten or something, she'll give you the option to accept some of her healing juice to, heal with. Can you tell I haven't done a Bloodborne script in a while? But be careful, because if you accept healing vials from the neighborhood harlot 3 times in a row, Adela will turn jealous of her and murder her in cold blood. How delightful. I said the Gascoigne family questline was a good introductory course to just how depressing things can get in Bloodborne, and I would say questlines like Saint Adela is why that introduction is needed. This game can get pretty depressing, but chimney fucking chrysanthemums, boys. This quest is just creepy. Provost Willem. No dialogue, no interaction, barely any movement whatsoever. All this guy does is raise up his staff and point. I should call him Signpost Willem, am I right? Look, I'm just waiting for a fucking pizza to get done at this point. Just type in a few lines about Willem and then you can eat your fucking lunch, Rusty. Christ. Willem is of extremely important characteristics in the Bloodborne of the lore. Master Willem is the head of the Byrgenwerth Scholars, the first sinners whose actions would eventually catalyze the eldritch curse that plagues Yharnam to this very day. Pretty much everything bad that's happened in Yharnam for the past few generations of hunters can all be traced back to this guy right here. And as anchored as he is in the plot, the fact that you only see him as this decrepit old man sitting in his rocking chair beside the lake is kinda harrowing. I guess it just goes to show you that not even a man like Master Willem himself holds immunity to the effects of— Oh, thank shit, my pizza's done. Gilbert is a sickly old man you find upon entering central Yharnam. Being one of the first NPCs you can find, it becomes quickly apparent to you that the poor man is standing on his last legs, so to speak. But he doesn't seem ill in the same way that the rest of Yharnam's population is ill. Going out with a nasty cough sure as hell beats the alternative Yharnam consequence of transforming into an octopus with a vagina for a face, and then getting your ass kicked by some idiot in a black hat. This guy also has one of the funniest interactions in the game, in my opinion. If you strike the window from where he talks to you, he'll consider you a threat and just never speak to you again, and the questline will be ruined, which, you know, sucks. But if you throw pebbles at his window, he just politely asks if you're okay and then tells you to stop. If you follow his questline up to the Blood Moon phase, he ends up experiencing a nasty transformation of his own to begin with. It's a nice dark reminder that in the hopelessly sideways Lovecraftian head fuck that is the city of Yharnam, even staying cooped up inside your own house won't be enough to fight the ensuing beast plague. This whole game is just one big COVID-19 simulator if you think about it hard enough. I mean, honestly, going outside and seeing giant vagina creatures would at least be a more interesting story to tell. I mean, fuck. Better swerve, Hunter! Here comes that one fucker with the wheel and the white trench coat. Alfred is one of the few Yharnamites that actually seem like he's retained a degree of his sanity through all of the eldritch butt fuckery that's been going on around the city. He can carry great conversations, he's very well versed in the history of Yharnam, Byrgenwerth, and the scholars at ground zero of the Lovecraft epidemic. However, this all abruptly changes when he's given an unopened Cainhurst summons that you pick up after speaking to Elise in Cainhurst Castle, and the realization of being within arm's reach of his ultimate life goal of exterminating the Queen is apparently enough to send him over the edge. He heads straight to the castle with an ecstatic resolve and grinds the poor Queen into a nice red jam that would go great on just about any Yharnam PB&J. PB as in peasant blood, that is. Let's be honest, I've been doing this for nigh on 8 years. If you expected good jokes from this channel, that's just your own goddamn fault, to be honest. This motherfucker eats people. You find the beggar in the forbidden woods trying to hide the scattered, mangled bodies behind him in such an obviously suspicious way that it kind of makes you feel sorry for the bastard to some capacity. What I like about this NPC is just how many options his quest line has. He's one of the 6 NPCs that you have the option of sending to either the chapel or the clinic. Sending him to the chapel will result immediately in killing one of the other NPCs you have also sent there. And he will continue to kill with each boss that you defeat in the game, and yes, this includes Chalice Dungeon bosses. They don't even have to be big bosses, it's just if you kill a boss, this guy kills an NPC. Plain and simple. Send him to the clinic and he'll be transformed into the same blue dildo head the others get turned into if you send them there. Or you can access a secret boss fight by just whacking the shit out of him and triggering the transformation as soon as you meet him. It's one of those quest lines where something cool happens no matter where you send him or what you do with him. I'm pretty sure the only way you can truly irreversibly fuck up his quest line is by triggering the Blood Moon phase and killing Rom, at which point he just disappears and you can no longer talk to him. Vaulterer! He's got a fucking bucket on his head, man. He has a bucket on his head and he's got a motorized buzzsaw on a stick. That's about it. I'm sorry, but I don't think this needs explaining. This dude's fucking awesome. Done. Next. See ya. The Chapel Samaritan is another sparse example of a friendly face in the midst of the voracious shit-stainopolis that Yharnam has pretty much turned into. At a first glance, it might seem like the Chapel Samaritan is only compelling you to direct other Yharnamites to the chapel as an established safe place in the town. But the Samaritan has a surprisingly expansive dialogue simply because he's serving as an overlap between so many different side quests in the game. Everything eventful that happens in the chapel, he seems to have a reaction to. Sending various NPCs there will be rewarded with a gesture of thanks. Kill an NPC or find a situation where an NPC will get killed in the chapel, and he will react accordingly. Talking to the Samaritan isn't critical to any major quest in Bloodborne, but it's really cool seeing him react to different events once you begin rescuing strangers and the like. Sometimes the strangers won't get along, and if you return to the chapel after not having been there for a while, he'll be sure to update you on some of the juicy chapel-wide gossip of the day, which I think is pretty cool. He's definitely got one of the more expansive libraries of dialogue of all the game's NPCs, and on top of everything else, I just find him kinda interesting to listen to. His slightly off-putting appearance actually made me confuse him for a beast on my first playthrough. So naturally, out came my axe, and now I feel like a piece of fucking shit. Couldn't figure out how to bring him back either, so I just restarted the whole game at that point, cause I just didn't feel like I could face the world after that incident, honestly. Patches is... well, he's definitely not my favorite NPC in the game. Surely not even close. Over the course of Soulsborne, this little piss puddle of an NPC has done more than his fair share of trickery and tomfuckery, most of which just gets me pissed off enough to put down the controller and take a couple deep breaths. And he has no shortage of these moments in Bloodborne either. There's a reason this is not a Rusty's favorite NPCs list, because if it was, Patches would have been so far down that lineup that he likely would have appeared in another video about a completely different fucking game. Me and this little spider cretin don't get along. We never really have. Patches doubles as a convenient reminder of why you should never trust anyone in this godforsaken game, as well as a fresh, new, never before opened top-of-the-line pants-shitting simulator for those of you with crippling cases of arachnophobia. But I would be reluctant to say he wasn't important to how everything in Bloodborne plays out. As far as favorite NPCs go, that position would be reserved either for Fake Yosefka or Captain Wheelman's fat white ass. But Patches, as a character, does a great job opening the window into chaos a bit more, and really giving you a nice helping of just how weird and acid-trippy Bloodborne can really get. After defeating Vicar Amelia, he does this weird thing where he immediately appears at the location of any Red Lantern NPCs you haven't visited before. Everyone from the weird witch lady in Hemwick to Gilbert in Central Yarnum. Any NPC you haven't talked to up to that point will be effectively replaced by Patches, and his dastardly means to trick you into accessing the in-game a good 6 hours earlier than you probably want to. This creates an illusion of Patches being in multiple places at once, and it's this sort of brooding, all-seeing eye kind of shit that really turns Bloodborne from a Souls derivative into this weird downward spiral into eldritch madness that I particularly enjoy. Despite him not being my favorite NPC by quite a large margin, his significance to the major events in Bloodborne and his overall what the fuck factor is more than enough for me to conclude that Patches might be the most underrated NPC in Bloodborne, for me at least. Worst case scenario, he's interesting to look at. It's really about all I got for that. I think that's about all I've got in me for this escapade. I forgot how to write an outro completely, and so I had to write and record one entirely separate from the rest of this video. And this is after I've already chugged enough chamomile tea to floor a fucking brontosaurus and a half. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm gonna go sleep for a few days, and I guess I'll see you whenever the hell my body decides to wake me up. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rusty, and bye.